Wilson, Secretary of the Air Force, has identified Tyndall Air Force Base as the preferred alternative for a new MQ-9 wing potentially here at Tyndall Air Force Base. I think it's important to emphasize that this is a preliminary decision. This is not a final basing decision. That will come after the NEPA directive, the National Environmental Policy Act directed environmental impact study process. That will be the next step in the process. So if we go through that, and if Secretary Wilson does ultimately make a final basing decision here at Tyndall, what you can expect to see is 24 new aircraft here, 24 MQ-9 Reaper aircraft, and then the 1,600 airmen and their families that go along with that. That includes an operations group and a maintenance group. It includes a launch and control element, as well as a mission control element that are all part of that RPA, or remotely piloted aircraft enterprise, that will come along with those 24 new aircraft here.
How is this going to affect the base?
It's going to affect the base in a lot of different ways. First off, 1,600 new people coming here will be a lot more that we'll have to, families that we'll have to support, and we'll have to bed down. I think the impact you're also going to see here is in the local community as well. Okay, so what you can expect to see is a lot of what you're already seeing, but maybe a little bit more of it. You're going to see airmen like us in your schools, you're going to see us in your churches, you're going to see us living in your neighborhoods. 1,600 people, and as well as their families, is a pretty big number of folks coming into a community that you know as well as I do is a very welcoming place of our military community.
The selection was pretty competitive. I mean, it was out at 50, then it narrowed down to 4. What makes Tyndall Air Force Base so unique to be able to have this in the wing?
Great question. I would say, well, I think that should be obvious to all of you here today, how beautiful a place this is to fly. This is a great place for aviation. It's a great place to be an airman. We can't wait to share with our RPA brethren and their families how great a place it is to serve our country here and be an airman at Tyndall Air Force Base. The specifics on it, though, the things that the process, and it's a very deliberate basing process that the Air Force uses. It's standardized, it's repeatable. What they do is they're attempting to match warfighter requirements, combatant commander requirements, with the attributes that the bases have to offer. The specific attributes that Tyndall most likely played the biggest role for Tyndall is the fact that we have ample airspace to support all the aircraft that we have now, plus additional aircraft. We have close proximity to good training ranges that are compatible with the MQ-9 training mission. As you can see on a day like today, the weather here is very favorable for flying. And when you look at bedding down a large wing and a large group of people, you need to look at upfront bed down costs, and they were favorable in this area as well. So for all of those reasons, Tyndall Air Force Base came to the top and became the preferred alternative for Secretary Wilson.
What's been the reaction on base?
So far, the reaction is enthusiasm. Anytime you get new mission to a base, there's a certain buzz associated with that. We recognize that there's going to be a lot of hard work here in the near future for those of us who are here, as well as those who are going to come in and join us here very shortly and figure out the best way, if we do ultimately get finally selected as the basing base of preference, that we got a lot of work to do, but we're excited about doing it for sure.
And can you go into detail a little bit about how we are the preferred alternative, but we're not set in stone on getting that?
Absolutely. So, well, what Secretary Wilson said was at the end of the strategic basing process, they came out with a preferred alternative, which is us here at Tyndall, and then a reasonable alternative, which would be Vandenberg Air Force Base out in California. What that means is that is the big, broad brush look that the strategic basing process did. Combatant commander requirements matched to basing attributes at the strategic level. The next step is where we get into the nitty-gritty. That's where the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA, directs us to do an environmental impact study. That's a lengthy process. That could take, it varies depending on what they decide to look at, but anywhere between about 9 months and 2 years. As we go through that process, in the end, we will then make another recommendation, or those who do the analysis will make another recommendation to Secretary Wilson. At that point in time, if Tyndall is still at the top of the heap, then she signs the paperwork and says go. And then what we'll start to see is new airmen showing up here in about 2020, and new aircraft showing up here in about 2022. So that's the process, if you will, from where we are to today to where we'll be potentially, hopefully, in 2022.
You have a location in mind on base?
Do I have a location in mind?
Yeah.
That is going to be part of the environmental impact study. It's something we're excited about, so it's natural to start thinking about where some of these locations might be. And I will say we have a lot of great